Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Good morning and welcome to another Good Morning Grief Devotion. It's your boy, Pastor Corey Allen Duncan Sr. So excited to have this time and opportunity with you on today to welcome you to another grief devotion. This is the daily grief devotion that is strategically designed to help you to navigate through your grief one day at a time. What is grief? I'm so glad you asked. Grief, my brothers and sisters, it is the natural and normal response to loss, change, and transition that results in the expressions of feelings and emotions. Grief is what you feel on the inside. Mourning is what you reveal on the outside. Therefore, we don't suppress it, but we express it. We don't ignore it, but we explore it. We don't conceal it, but we reveal it. We don't lock it up, but we let it out. And that's why we shout good morning, because morning is a good thing. I want to thank you for joining us on today, and I want to welcome you to our Good Morning Grief Devotion. Today is day 62. We're going to talk about my physical well-being is interconnected with my emotional and spiritual well-being. My physical well-being is interconnected with my emotional and spiritual well-being. I say this all the time, y'all, that all three are connected: spiritual, mental, emotional. All of these things are connected, right? You are a spirit, you have a soul, you live in a body. When you start talking about grief is, it affects you in all three ways, in all three manners, right? So it is important that when we talk about grief journey, that we tackle or we approach it from the senses of all three and not just one aspect, right? Let's get into it. You're gonna see what I'm talking about in just a minute. My grief journey affects me physically, cognitively, emotionally, socially, and spiritually. Physical symptoms of grief are normal, but if I'm unwell physically, it's hard for me to work on the other aspects of my grief. My grief journey affects me physically, cognitively, emotionally, socially, and spiritually. Physical symptoms of grief are normal, but if I'm unwell physically, it's hard for me to work on the other aspects of my grief. I take care of my physically, and when I am feeling unwell, I visit my primary care providers and work to enhance my health. That's the whole devotion, but let me break it down to you real quick. The physical aspect of navigating through this process is so very important. I even think about this even to the point of when we're going through grief. Just think about it. When somebody dies, right? People show up to the house, all right, and they bring food. That's just one of the things. That's what happens in our tradition. They're going to bring food. They're going to bring meals, and most times, right? I've never seen anybody pull up with salad and water and some healthy stuff. No, they gonna bring the fried chicken, right? They gonna bring the fried chicken. They gonna bring the soda pop. They gonna bring all of these things. And I understand it's just food. We trying to help the family, so they ain't got to cook this, that, and the other. There's a lot of people at the house, so you can eat all those wonderful things. It's just what we do. But when we start going through the grief process, right, that a lot of times it's how we minister to our physical well-being, from our diet, even to our exercise. We don't consider that. We don't say, well, I'm grieving, let me go for a walk. I'm grieving, let me work out. No, we find ourselves embracing comfort food because we're feeling some type of way, right? And all of those things are out the window. As far as a lot of times healthy stuff, right? Because we're in a season of grief. We're in a season of grief. We're in a season of mourning. And it's not just the food we consume or the diet that we have, but even the just our physical well-being, period. When it comes to grieving and mourning, remember, we don't suppress, we express. What happens when we suppress? When we suppress, right, the body keeps score. When we suppress, we're leaving grief trapped on the inside. And if release brings about relief, we have no relief because we're suppressing. So we keep it on the inside. Yesterday, I went with a family to the funeral home to visit to the family and friends viewing for the funeral that's taking place today, and I was saying, breathe, breathe. Before we went in, I said, yo, death is a two-sided coin. We know we got the spiritual side. Well, we understand to be absent from the bodies of present with the Lord, but we got the physical side too. The physical side means we're going to miss them. We're going to have sorrow. We're going to grieve. We're going to mourn. And I said, let it out. Feel what you feel. Don't keep it trapped on the inside. If you feel like crying, cry, cry. If you feel like screaming, scream. Don't keep it trapped on the inside. Don't conceal it, reveal it. Don't lock it up, let it out, which is so very important, right? And so as we navigate through this thing, we got to understand how everything is connected, right? And so my grief journey affects me physically, cognitively, emotionally, socially, and spiritually. Physical symptoms of grief are normal, but if I'm unwell physically, it's hard for me to work on the other aspects of my grief. We got to make sure our physical wellness is a top priority in our grief, right? We got to make sure our physical wellness is a top priority. I take care of myself physically, and when I am feeling unwell, I visit my primary care providers and work to enhance my health. I think it's just good, period. If you're going through grief, schedule an appointment. Just like you go see a therapist, a counselor, a coach, go see a doctor. I would say, see, I want y'all to do some blood work. I need y'all to take some urine. I need y'all to do all of this stuff because my physical health is of the utmost importance. And be mindful of that. And this is the thing, physical action can help you mentally and emotionally, right? If you start some type of regimen working out, right? First of all, mourn, right? Don't trap it, let it out, right? So first of all, mourn, let it out. So that's gonna help you fit because if you working out and eating well, but you suppressing and not expressing, you setting yourself up for failure. So you want to be in a position to where you are working out emotionally and mentally and your grief journey, and you're in a safe place and safe space where you can let it out first of all. But to enhance that, working out, exercise, going for a walk, just incorporating some other things that's going to help you physically, more water, vitamins, fruits, vegetables, these types of things will be super duper beneficial for you physically as you navigate through your grief journey. Look at the final thought, y'all. Caring for my body is among my most important priorities. Caring for my body is among my most important priorities. I think perhaps we don't consider this when we're going through the grief process. Let me care for my body, right? I think a lot of times we're so focused on the pain that we're experiencing, and we don't want to do nothing. We want to sit in the dark room, put the sheets over us, and don't open up the blinds because a lot of us, we're depressed. We're going through, right? And I get it. Part of the grief journey is making sure that we are caring for ourselves spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, right? So let us be aware, let us dare to be aware that my physical well-being is interconnected with my emotional and spiritual well-being as well. Y'all, today is day 62. This lesson was for me and for you. I hope you are blessed. I'm on the move today. Y'all pray my strength in the Lord. I'm headed to preach a funeral, and it is going to be an emotional one. It's going to be a great time of celebration, but emotional one nonetheless. So keep me lifted in prayer. I love y'all with the love of the Lord. I'll see y'all tomorrow, same time. Let's go.